now the third section. The third section's turn to welcome a new foreign member. Professor Kristina Gemzell Danielson is the chair of obstetrics and gynecology, the director of the WHO Collaboration Center for Research in Human Reproduction at Karolinska Institute in Sweden. She's also a member of the Nobel Assembly.
Oh, not an easy question. Well, honestly, I did that very early, already long before I went to med school. So a reason to go to med school was that I wanted to become a gynecologist obstetrician. And I was interested in fertility and infertility. So that was really early on, already in school. So my Ph.D. supervisor, who was also head of the clinic back in time, Professor Mark Bygdeman, he has left a huge impression. I mean, he was a great supervisor. And his supervisor was Sune Bergström, who received a Nobel Prize for the discovery of prostaglandins. So I call him my academic grandfather. So I enjoy teamwork, and I work in different teams, in international teams, and also with my in my clinic and at the university and with my research group. So I think it is important with research groups and to transfer knowledge and to support the transition. Friendship is very important, yes. So I think that, I mean, the most important part with research is, of course, when it can be of benefit to patients and people, but the most fun is to work together and to create friendships, and also, I mean, not only local but also the international friendships. So I have, and those are also people who have made huge impressions. My friends, scientific collaborators and friends in Belgium. Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes I try to combine, so because I travel quite a lot for work with international work, but then I also try to combine. I try to combine also with some private. I mean, I love summer and spring and warmth, and so I love to go to warm places, but I also love skiing. So to go skiing, that can in the north of Sweden or somewhere else, or to go to the Mediterranean or Thailand or Africa. There are many nice places. I'm married. My husband is also a medical doctor. His name is Olof. And we have 3 girls, Fredrika, Maria, and Johanna. And they all have partners. And our youngest daughter, she has a daughter, Ellen. So we just 8 months ago became grandparents. So that's fantastic. And then my mother is still alive. Yeah, I love reading, so that's really a way for me to relaxing, to read, and then I also love nature, so to go trekking, that's also something I enjoy, or to go jogging. So I've done quite a lot of jogging also. Well, one new challenge is always to find a balance between work, private, sort of, because, well, I'm always working somehow, because I also enjoy it, but of course to find a balance between it is important. And for the future, a challenge is to find people who are interested in the field, and who I can sort of entrust to hand over part of the research work gradually. I mean, I plan to continue to work for another quite some time still, but it's also important to, with mentorship, I think, and to let young people grow, and that's something I enjoy, to supervise young people. But I also hope that some of them will become independent, and that I will be able to sort of transit part of the work to them. So that's something, a hope and a challenge for the future. Well, so that's I'm really honored. It's fantastic. I'm so happy and honored and proud. And yes, so I have friends in Belgium. So this with this, I really hope to be able to work closer in collaboration and strengthen the friendship and make new friendship and maybe also scientific collaboration. So I'm really looking forward to this. Eater. Yeah. If I enjoy food, you mean? Yes, I do. And that's also because I do quite a lot of jogging, and that makes it possible, I think, also to eat with a good appetite. So I really enjoy food and family dinners, and when I go places to enjoy the local food and so on. So yes, definitely.
Kristina, Gemzell, Danielson, you reached the third section with two godfathers, Jean-Michel Fouadard and Ulysse Gaspard. You spent a postdoc in Cambridge and built your own research group in parallel to the clinical training. Wow. In 2019, you became head of the Department of Women and Children Health at Karolinska Institute. You develop an extensive international collaboration network, and you are responsible for a research wet lab and a clinical trial center conducting research from bench to bed, especially in the hand of women, to improve reproducible health globality. Kristina, the audience is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam President, Mr. Secretary, distinguished academicians and friends, sponsors, colleagues. So it's a great honor. Now you know very much about me. I will also tell you about some of my research. I'm sorry for my voice, and I hope I will manage. So, as you heard, I'm also director of a World Health Organization collaborating center, and this is connected to the special program which was started in 1972. And I think the vision was beautiful, by research to reduce maternal mortality globally. So I will give some examples of what we do, the research from BENS, experimental work to bed clinical trials, and implementation globally. Our experimental research is focused very much on the endometrial regeneration, but mainly, a little bit heavy mesothelioma, but mainly endometrial receptivity and embryo implantation. And for this, unfortunately, we lack good animal models, and of course, difficult to study in humans, but we try. So, effective contraceptive methods, safe abortion, and freedom from infertility are prerequisites for reproductive health. And thanks to the agreement that was made in 1994 at the ICPD in Cairo, we can actually still state that these sexual and reproductive health and rights constitute fundamental human rights. And we can see how extremely important this is for the whole development of society. So although it's challenged, it's extremely important. So is there unmet need for new contraceptive methods and safe abortion methods? I think if we look around, I think the answer to this is clear. So still, globally, more than 200 million of women lack access to effective and acceptable contraceptive methods. And if we add men, this figure will increase even more. And more than 40% of all pregnancies are unintended many of these are unwanted, and 56 or even more results in induced abortion. And we know the consequences of the unsafe abortions, which constitutes quite a large part of these, and contribute to, as one of the main contributors to maternal mortality globally, but also huge impact on quality of life. So, one example, and I mentioned my academic grandfather, Yvon Lammens, who discovered prostaglandins and was awarded with the Nobel Prize. And his Ph.D. student, Mike Yvon, became a gynecologist, and he brought prostaglandins to gynecology. And then in 1980s, when Professor Etienne Baudier in Paris discovered mifepristone, the progesterone receptor antagonist or modulator, the first thought was to use this for induced abortion. And unfortunately, it was not very effective for induced abortion. And that's around this time I had become a PhD student. Mike Yvon was my supervisor. And he came up with the idea to combine mifepristone with prostaglandin. So that is the whole background actually for what we today call medical abortion, this combined treatment. And it has then been developed very much in collaboration with WHO and also within our group. So step by step we have moved from bench to clinic with huge clinical trials, international trials, and it has been implemented. So today it's a safe, effective, acceptable and accessible method. But I also started to look at mifepristone and effects during the menstrual cycle, and of course also in pregnancy, but also during the menstrual cycle. And depending on the dose and the time of the cycle, it has different effects. So we also then developed, as I said, to study human embryo implantation. It's challenging. So we developed a 3-dimension implantation model. Until today, it has actually been the most sophisticated method. Now with new technology, we and others are further developing this model. But this has been really important in this development. So we showed for the first time that mifepristone was highly effective for contraception and could be used as once-a-month pill with the target on the endometrium. Then we combined targeting ovulation and fertility and developed a once-a-week low-dose pill. And this is currently undergoing clinical trials in a number of places. Together with the WHO, we also developed the first modern emergency contraceptive pills, and 2 different kinds, one with progesterone receptor modulators, mifepristone, or more commonly used in Europe and US, unipristone acetate, or levonorgestrel, which is the most widely used. And when developing contraception, it's also important with the added health benefits, and this has led to a little bit different program. Because I was interested, since we know that progesterone is involved in development of breast cancer, I was also interested to look at the effect of mifepristone in the breast. And while we were doing our first clinical trial, other published in vitro or animal studies supporting protective effect. And looking at the mechanism of action, we've shown that it's the luminal progenitor cells with elevated replicative age that will or make the breast more prone to malignant transformation. So we have shown that mifepristone reduces mitotic age and proportion of these cells in normal breast, and also in women with BRCA mutation who have this really increased risk for otherwise for breast cancer. So this data supports that mifepristone could actually be developed for prevention of breast cancer, maybe a contraceptive method with this added huge, of course, health benefits. Then going back to the research on endometrium and emergency contraception, So today's emergency contraceptive pills act by postponing or preventing ovulation. And of course, if adding an effect on endometrium, that would increase the efficacy. So that could be done with a higher dose of mifepristone. But we were also thinking that since prostaglandins are involved in many of these processes, also ovulation, fertilization, endometrial sensitivity, targeting prostaglandins could maybe increase the efficacy. So we combined levonorgestrel, the most common pill, with COX inhibitor, prostaglandin synthesis inhibitor, which is also one of the common anti-inflammatory drugs. So we use piroxicam in this first study and compared with levonorgestrel plus placebo. And we could see a huge increase in efficacy. So 63% in the placebo group versus 95% with the addition of NSAID. So this is now taken forward. So I would also like to acknowledge my research group, you already saw them, and funders. And again, thank you so much for this great honor.